Hey everyone, welcome to a little bit of woo. It's been a while, forgive me for that. I'm recording this on April 3rd at 11:30 Pacific. Oh my God, it's been a wild ride. I bet you guys have been feeling the same way. Did you watch the speech last night? Oh, for the first few minutes of it, where he said, "Hey, this is going to be really simple. This tariff thing is going to be really simple." I was like, "Oh, this one time it's going to be simple. Yes, please. Thank you so much." And then he brought out the big board, and then it became not simple. So we're going to start with tariffs. You guys have all by now heard on the news that other countries have been tariffing us for a while, and most people, I don't think, have any clue how much or what or how this whole tariff system works. But basically, when you import something, like let's say me, I import something from India, I want to sell Zephyrs or something, I don't know. And I pay the import tax or the tariff, and then I pass that money on to you. So basically, you as the consumer are paying for it. So it's a different kind of tax. It's like everybody being taxed externally instead of through our taxes, the way it normally is. Now, it's designed to get you to be excited about American products, but I'm sure if you're like me, you went in your cabinet last night and looked to see how much of your stuff comes from other countries, and even the things that I saw, like Taco Bell hot sauce. I love that. It comes from the U.S., but I was like, does this glass bottle come from the U.S.? Does the cap come from the U.S.? Does the little plastic ring around the cap come from the U.S.? I don't know. I mean, it's not like that's listed on there, but ultimately, we end up paying for it as consumers. So is that going to cause a problem? Yeah. Yes. Historically, tariffs don't work. I mean, I learned that one in school, but I'm not a macroeconomist, so defer to someone else. And I will say that this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to talk a little bit about the stock market. Don't listen to me. Timing is all it's a really hard thing for psychics to do because the other world that we're communicating with doesn't carry watches. They don't have time like we do. And also things change, right? So sometimes I'm going to own this one. Sometimes I'm just plain wrong. Sometimes I'm just plain wrong. So back to the tariffs. Are we going to have it? Is it going to happen? Yes and no. I do see tariffs for breakfast, no tariffs for dinner, tariffs on one thing, no tariff on another. It's basically chaos. It's like a chaos agent is what's happening here. And it's going to leave us all kind of wondering. I do feel like some countries are just plain not going to sell to us because they don't want to figure it out. They don't want to deal with it. And they're mad. So I do think there's going to be some products. I've never seen a time where you couldn't get food. I've seen a time, and it's probably now, when you aren't going to be able to buy all of the brands that you want. So if there's this special Italian flour that you get for your homemade pizzas that you make, I get some extra right now. I mean, that's always sensible, right? It's always sensible to have that. Not to be afraid, and I don't want to contribute to the noise of people who are freaking out, and there's certainly plenty of that. But now's the time to have a little bit of extra. That is always a good idea, especially since I do see some weather events coming. That's again not unusual. Obviously, there's some tornadoes happening in the Midwest right now. It's really sad. It's all very sad, but product is going to have trouble moving, is what I'm seeing. Now, when it comes to these tariff things, it was kind of a weird thing I was shown, and I think this is happening behind closed doors. So I don't know if we're ever going to hear about it. But I do see like governors of certain states, like border states, trying to negotiate with countries like even Governor Newsom working with the Mexican government themselves and saying, "Hey, we'll pay the tariffs. Just let us have avocados and oranges." I do feel like that's going to happen. It could happen with Washington as well, with Canada. I don't know. I think it actually more likely with Mexico. I don't think that Trump's going to be happy about that, but I do see that that's probably some of what's going to happen. And behind closed doors, California, for those of you who don't know, it's like the 10th largest economy in the world. If on its own, I don't even actually, I'm not even sure that's the right number. It's really high, 5 or 10. I can't remember if it's 5 or 10. Huge, huge on its own. So they have a lot of buying power, and I do think that they may be buying things, and negotiating with Mexico themselves and creating a relationship because it just literally right next door, literally right next door. So I also wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about Tesla. I was at the hospital the other day, nothing bad. I had to get a test. was at the hospital the other day, and this guy was super upset. He had a Tesla. He was super upset. He was there to have a baby. His wife was up doing her job, and somebody had vandalized his car, his Tesla. And now he said he's talking to security because he's not sure. He's not sure if it actually happened at the hospital. It probably didn't because they have a lot of security there. But he was, you've got cameras everywhere. Did it happen here? But it probably happened at home. He wasn't paying attention. They were kind of in a hurry to get to the hospital for some reason. And this had happened to him. It was probably a Democrat that did it. He's probably a Democrat. You guys, when it comes to the Tesla thing, and I'm seeing bumper stickers on the Tesla that say, it's not my fault. I'm in the anti-Elon pro Tesla club. We have a long history as Americans of forgiving car companies for things that they or their management have done in the past. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go back to the history books and look at Honda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Volkswagen, BMW, all of the things that those companies have done in the past. And lots of Americans are still buying those cars. I'm probably leaving out a few. I'm sure Toyota too. I don't remember them from history. I do remember Mitsubishi and Honda though. I'm just saying, this too shall pass. As also the sort of supply chain food shortages, I think some of that's going to linger. Some of it's going to go away pretty quickly. As far as the tariffs goes, I just see it being up and down here and there and all over the place. I'm not sure how and when that's going to get resolved. I feel like it'll be completely resolved, like done, probably by the end of the summer. Done meaning it might be back to just like a normal level of crazy. But right now, just expect that there may be some inflation on this. It's not really called inflation when it's that thing, but as far as stagflation, people are asking me about this one. No, that's not happening. Ask any economist what stagflation really is. There's a recipe for it, and we don't have all the ingredients, so that's not happening. But there is going to be an increase in unemployment numbers. I don't think the numbers we're being given are correct. I think they've been finagling them. That's part of the last administration did that. But we're going to be hearing that things are a little bit rosier than they are. Ask any business owner how busy they are, and you'll get an earful. And oh my God, you guys, a couple of weeks ago I was at Disneyland. There was nobody there. There was nobody there. It was raining. I mean, it doesn't rain very often in Southern California. It wasn't raining a lot. So like people don't go out in the rain. But man, I'd never seen it that empty. I just had never seen it that empty. It was actually really cool. I'm just saying. But there's going to be, if you're trying to go on a trip somewhere, this might be a good time, especially if you're staying in the States, because you're going to find that some of these places are fairly deserted. We're contemplating something ourselves. Or like, if nobody's going to be there, where can we go? That's not really good. If you are a hotelier and you own a hotel or an Airbnb, I'm sorry for you guys. It's going to be a rough summer. I hope you've been hodling some pennies, because you're going to need them. The other thing I want to talk about, I have a long list, you guys, so bear with me here. General freak out. Oh man, people are getting crazy. They're going from amused about what's going on in the 47 administration to absolutely pissed. There's going to be a lot of protests. There's going to be some of those really annoying protests where they block off the freeways. I hate that. Personally, I think that working people from going to work is not a good way to help your cause. I'm just saying. I will say one thing on that. I do think there's going to be some crackdowns on this, and I'm gonna level with you guys. A million years ago, I was arrested for protesting. I was not charged. Basically, what they did was, the police told us to leave. We didn't leave. I got thrown in a police car because I was the closest one to the police officer. They took me to the station. I wasn't charged. They just said, you're free to go. But I basically had to hike back to my car. It was like 6 miles and it was hot. I'm telling you, if the police tell you to leave, I would just do it. I'm not going to do that. It was not a pleasant experience. But you decide for yourself if there's something that you really care about that much that you want to protest. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm just sharing my experience and say again, police are there to do a job too. If they've been told to disperse the crowd and they tell you to leave, I would leave. I also wouldn't take a lot of pictures. I'm just saying, I think we're going to be hearing later more about how much surveillance really kind of does happen through those cameras. You don't want to help them. by providing pictures unknowingly of other people that participated in the protest. It's up to you. Use your own intuition there. You guys are really smart. I know you're really smart, and you're going to know when you want to snap shots and when you don't. So, let's just leave it at that. So, the economy, I'm going to talk a little bit about that one. Here's the thing. I heard a statistic last night that kind of really shocked me. I didn't know this. 10% of the consumers in the United States are buying 50% of the goods. 50% of the money is being spent by only 10% of the population. That's not sustainable. It's really sad. I do think we're going to be seeing some, I'm going to say recession. I do think we're going to be heading for a recession. In terms of a recipe for a recession, all the ingredients are there for that. Is it going to be really bad? It's hard to say. If you're the one getting laid off, it's really bad. If you're the one who owns a business and nobody's coming, it's really bad. But for some people, it's going to mean, better deals on things. For other people, it's not. 90% of you guys are just going to be scared about losing your job. You're not going to ask for a raise when you probably should. You're going to take on more responsibility when you probably shouldn't. You better believe employers are going to take advantage of this one. It is what it is. I would say, personally, I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship. I am a big fan of understanding the stock market and the investment strategies. This is a good time to allow yourself to start understanding and learning about how these things are done, how this game is played, so that when there are opportunities, you'll know what to buy and you'll know when to buy, and you'll have a better sense of it. Speaking of that, I'm going to talk about the stock market. Entertainment purposes only. Don't listen to me. Timing is really tough. I'm not really going to give investment advice, except to say that I've just been seeing, and it's down today. As of right now, it's down. Everybody's down. I think 5% right now. Oh my God, you guys! During that speech, my husband had on one half of the screen, he had like the stock market and bond market, the numbers, in real time, and then he had the speech, and you could see like certain words. It was going up or down based on certain words, which was kind of interesting because the machines are the ones that do the trading. Anyway, I've always been shown this, like, it's going to go up and down and up and down. It's kind of trend down this year. And as far as a crash goes, what is defined as a crash? Is it 30%? Is it 10%? The market's up a huge amount of money over the last couple of years. So even if it went down, I think 30%, again, entertainment purposes only, if it went down 30%, we'd still be ahead from 2 years ago. So just use your intuition, babysit your investments, know where your exits are. And if you have to lose, some people's strategies is if they have to lose a little bit on the profit they could have made, but they didn't have to worry about the loss. Be sensible and know where you are as an investor. And even the bond market's acting really crazy. Oh my God, you guys watch the bond market is usually like a sleeper. It's up and down and down and up and all over the place. Okay, the question people are asking me about a lot because they want to know about grandma's Social Security. And I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. And this is what I'm seeing. It's shots fired on that. So as far as, are they going to mess with it now? They're going to try to. They're going to make some cuts. There's going to do some things. There's going to do some finagling. But the bigger changes are not happening under this administration. I do see them making changes to how old you are when you can apply, how it's handled. I think that's happening later. I feel like we're getting warnings now, like the younger generations are looking at this going, will there even be a Social Security when I come around? I do think there'll be something like it. And I almost feel like it may have more to do with your states. There's going to be more of a state focus on this later on. I mean, I'm saying like 10 or 15 years, 20 years down the road. But pay attention to what you're seeing now, because it's information that you can use for later. We're being told, don't count on this. Don't count on this being there. Just know that you need to start hodling your coins, making steps, starting businesses of your own, allowing yourself to have 4 to 5 income streams, looking for opportunities, because there's going to be a lot of them in other ways than the ways that you're expecting to have it now. Growing things in your backyard and trading them with a neighbor. I mean, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So during the 2020 event, I had a neighbor who, I don't know why, but she had a garage full of toilet paper. And she was a bit of a prepper. I should have asked her how she did it more. But she had a garage full of, and she didn't want money for this stuff. She was trading with everybody in the neighborhood for stuff. Like, we ended up trading her. I had a couple extra. She needed some hand weights, like for weights for working out. I didn't mean to make that gesture, but anyway, for working out, and we traded her for some toilet paper. I mean, and it was brilliant. And her and I became friends. Very conservative, very different than myself. I'm saying her and I became buddies, and we traded information and shared ideas and became good friends. Well, friends, good friends, neighbors, right? Um, you're going to need that kind of relationship and connection now with your neighbors more than ever, because there's going to be times when you're going to be seeing things happening on TV. They're going to freak you out, and you're not going to know what to do, especially if you've just moved to a particular area. Ding. Uh, and you don't know, does hail mean something? Do I need to put my car in the garage if it hails? Is that a thing? Yes, by the way, found that out from a neighbor. Um, just know that these are relationships that you're going to make. Some of the most helpful people that you're going to connect with are people that are very different than yourself. I would encourage you not to be afraid of making more and more connections with people whose opinions are different than you. Obviously, you want to make sure it's people you like, it's people that are nice, and don't be afraid of that, and allow for those shifts. Okay. So I had a huge long list. Oh, government jobs. Yeah, the Doge thing. Oh, the douche thing. As much as we're seeing these public displays of rudeness by employer, by the government, when in firing, I have to tell you, when I saw some of those emails that people were getting, laid off with, it reminded me of ones I had gotten, because I've been laid off before too. And those of us who've worked in the private sector most of our lives know that that's pretty common. Know that receiving things that are rude with very little notice is kind of a private sector thing to do too. I do see a lot of that stuff getting reversed later. I do see a lot of those people getting hired back, and some of them just not even wanting to come back. But keep in mind that only 2% of the population works for the government, even though we're being seen, we hear these high numbers and we think that's a crazy amount of people being laid off. And it is a lot. I'm not lying. It's a lot of people. But it isn't as much as they're making it sound like. And some of those people are going to come back. Some of those jobs are coming back, and we'll talk more about that in a second. I do also see some of the states stepping in and taking over some of the things that the federal government is not going to be doing as much of. I do see states stepping up more, and really a lot of district attorneys to these different states are filing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit over things that the Trump administration is doing. Kudos for them for doing it, for not saying no on behalf of their constituents. But we're going to be seeing more and more of that. More and more of the current administration tied up in legal battle after legal battle over this, that, or the other thing. Stuff's going to get overturned. Quite a bit of it is. I can't say exactly everything, because it feels like a lot of it's going to be overturned, but some of it's not. And so I think they knew that. I think they knew going in, like, if we ask for the moon and the stars, we're going to get some of it, and some of it is good. We wouldn't have had anything if we hadn't tried, right? I do see that. The deportation issues. Oh my God, I get a lot of calls about that one. It's interesting because when I looked into this, the numbers between what's happening with the Biden administration and the current administration are about the same in terms of deportation, but it's just a different approach. Like, there's a camera there. It's being public. It's shown as like a public shaming kind of thing. And it's meant to discourage somebody from coming here. It is a very different approach than the last administration. Whether you agree or disagree, that's for you to decide. But the numbers themselves are really not that different. And it's some sad stories, but it's kind of meant to be. It's meant to be deterring in nature. It's meant to be these sad stories. They want that sad story of that little girl with cancer who's an American citizen being sent back to Mexico. They want that out in the public so that people see it and say, "Oh my God, I don't want that to happen to me. Maybe I shouldn't travel." I'm just saying that's a different tactic, and it's a tactic that's being put. U.S. Postal Service. This is the one I think a lot of people are made super mad about. Privatization of the USPS. I don't think it's ultimately going to happen. I do see some challenges there. I do see them trying. I do see them making some changes, like maybe certain kinds of packages won't be sent with UPS. Maybe some partnering with Amazon. I think there's been some negotiation on that's been in the news already. There's going to be some changes, but I don't think it's going to be super privatized. There's a reason they want to, though. It's because of the ballots. It's because of the states that they're trying to figure out how to keep people from voting by mail. We have to take over the US Postal Service and we say we're not going to do ballots by mail. There's a way to do it. Okay. Shocking weather events. Now, yes, there's always shocking weather events. I do see some nasty stuff coming. I do see. Okay, so what's coming? I don't want to add to like the fear and concern and worry that's happening in the world. I do see some 9/11 type events coming in this month, in the next few weeks. But again, it's another thing you're going to be watching on TV. And use your own intuition about whether you want to go to places. Use your own intuition whether you want to travel to places. People usually do get insight before they go to an event that something is not right about it. It's not the time to ignore that, right? If you're feeling like you don't want to go somewhere, don't go there. If you're feeling like it's going to be fine, it's probably going to, and honestly, it's probably going to be fine either way. Ultimately, though, this fear is keeping us from our creative self. Right now, with all of this stuff happening energetically, with the eclipses, this energy is really leveling our vibrational frequency. It's giving people, oh my God, so much information, so much intuitive hits is coming. People are really transforming. But what stops that is fear. If you're watching the news and you're getting caught up in stuff that most of which is kind of lies or misleading or an exaggeration, if you're getting caught up in it and you're stuck in fear, you're not getting the upgrade, right? Time to go to the gym. I went to the gym this morning. It was packed. It was packed. I loved that. I loved that. Go to the gym. Go for walks. Play with your cats. It's time to spend time in nature. It's time to turn off the TV. It's time to get more perspective on things. It's time to learn about entrepreneurship. It's time to learn about investing. A lot of people I see later on, when after some of this fallout with the investments happens, I do see people getting in who haven't been doing it before because they learned a lot during this time. They watched other people make mistakes. I'm not going to do that, and they got in, and they're going to be able to build some wealth from that. The housing market is going to be in a little bit of trouble. If you can wait, unless you find the ideal, I'm not going to tell you when to buy a house. Some places are going to go up no matter what. I mean, not every market is the same, but I would just do a lot of research. But if you're in a place where you can wait, it might be a good idea to wait. Interest rates are a little high right now. I do see them coming down. In terms of timing, I'm not sure. Like, I keep thinking that Powell's going to do it, and then he doesn't. I mean, it could be tomorrow, it could be a little, but I feel like it's going to be before the end of the year. But that's a lot of time here, guys. But I can't say for sure on that one. When I try and tune in, it's like, it feels like he hasn't decided. I don't know. Maybe here, maybe there. I don't know. He doesn't. He and 47 are not friends. Let's just say that. Social Security checks. This is another question people are asking me about. Social Security checks, are they going to be delayed? Possibly, but it's temporary. And you are, grandma's going to get her money and she's going to be able to buy food and groceries and things like that. Some of the stuff he's trying to do is going to get overturned. The needing to turn in a passport or, needing to have ID to register for Social Security, I'm not sure that one isn't going to stick around in some form. It doesn't seem like a bad idea initially for the new ones. I do feel like it is a cost saving thing. When people ask me about Leon and when he's trying to do, it never feels like he's really trying to do something really, really bad. I feel like he was looking for something in the data. I feel like he was looking for something. I don't know if he's found it, but I do think we're going to be seeing the end of him soon. I mean, not unaliving. I mean, I think he's going to be exiting stage left, but I think he said he's leaving by the end of May, but I feel like it's going to be sooner. I feel like there's some big scandal. Disclosure events, I do feel like there's going to be some big disclosure events involving the government, members of the government. Huge scandals, yes. I don't want to contribute to the noise on that one, but I do feel like that's coming, and I do think he's going to be part of that. But the most important and biggest disclosures that I think are going to be happening are actually going to be happening to people personally. You're going to go to the doctor and you're going to find out that maybe your cholesterol is too high. You're going to go to the doctor and you're going to find out that you're pre-diabetic. You're going to get information. You're going to find out things that you didn't know. I do see a lot of that happening right now. I do see a lot of that happening. A lot of the most important disclosures in your event are not going to be things you're going to be watching on television. They're going to be things that are happening in your life. And it's going to feel, sometimes it's going to feel not nice, you know? Um, Sometimes it's going to be really good information, but knowing what's happening and what's really true for you is going to allow you to make another shift. People are going to be making a lot of changes. They're making a lot of changes. I see a lot of information in April and a lot of changes in May. So if you've been thinking about something you want to put into place, maybe you start taking steps, or maybe you don't, but maybe you just write your ideas down and take action later. You'll feel it intuitively. You guys are really smart. I know you can do this. But just know that the most important disclosures that are happening are going to happen on a personal level. They're going to happen with what's right in front of you, and I would pay more attention to that. I know it's hard not to. It's like watching a soap opera. I mean, goodness, a lot of anxiety in the air. A lot of people really freaking out and kind of losing their shiz. I mean, truthfully, I would say some people are you right now could be in the next few weeks running into a person that qualifies as the mayor of Crazy Town. Okay. And maybe they're going to confront you and maybe they're going to be angry. I would just say, rather than fighting back, now might be the time to just say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You're right. Oh, you are so right. I'm wrong. I'm just going to leave right now. You're right. And just live to fight another day here, because I do think that we're going to be seeing some more scary stuff. Okay. Ultimately, it's going to be really good. You guys are going to learn a lot about yourselves in this time. Good things are happening. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I do feel like there's going to be calmer waters coming in the next few months, maybe for part of the summer, and then it feels like it's going to get crazy again, and then there's going to be calmer close to the end of the year. So just just know that you're going to need to learn to use your tools, meditation, exercise, watching some good things on TV. I watched Schitt's Creek again. You guys haven't seen that show in a while. It's still good. It's still good. The reruns are on Amazon. Highly recommend using your tools, enjoying life, playing with your cats, and making some changes, because there's going to be a lot of changes in everybody's life in April, and that's just the way it is. So I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.